Yum, 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 yum.
Welcome to the Bona Vista, one of two restaurants at the Sheraton Hotel Newfoundland. The Bona Vista can accommodate about 100 people. It has a range of seating. It has tables, it has booths, it has banquet seating, and it's colorful. It's multicolored, and that's appropriate because this is a multicolored, dazzling edition of One Chef, One Critic. It is our Oscar Week edition of the show. Hello, I'm Karl Wells, food critic for The Telegraph.
And I'm Chef Steve Watson, Essential Dairies.
And Steve, we've got our own Oscar on the table today.
We certainly do.
To bring us good luck, because who knows, one of these days, One Chef, One Critic may be up for an award.
We are deserving of it.
Maybe not an Oscar, but an award. We hope. Anyway, we're taping the show, actually, folks, before the Oscars are awarded. But my money is on Kate Winslet for Best Actress and Mickey Rourke for Best Actor.
And mine is on Meryl Streep and Sean Penn.
Well, we'll see who wins.
Yes.
Now, we have a real live movie producer on the program today.
Paul Pope of Paul Pope Productions.
And he's made a number of movies that we're going to hear about later on in the program. We're also going to go to craft services. These are people who actually prepare food for the folks who work on movie sets. And this is really one of the perks of working on a movie, I'll tell you. Because no matter who you are, a cameraman, a gaffer, whatever, you're fed by craft services, and it's all food all the time. Great perk. Anyway, you'll find out all about it. Now, speaking of food, not to disparage craft services, but this is Oscar-winning food we've got.
Indeed.
I mean, they're not going to be eating any better than this at Spago tonight in Hollywood, or one of those fancy restaurants. Chef Rory McPherson at the Sheraton has prepared a scallop and lobster tail here, poached in butter and white truffle oil on a bed of tomato concasse. And what do you have?
I got a wonderful poached egg with smoked Gouda and a Maltese sauce and some lumpfish caviar.
And speaking of awards, Rory McPherson is an award-winning chef.
Yeah, and Olympic
last year won an Olympic medal for his cookery. Anyway, we better get this movie started.
That's smoked Gouda.
If you're dining out and they ask you, would you like still, sparkling, or mineral water, just ask for plain old tap water because it tastes just as good and it will save you money.
And we are known for some of the best water.
We are indeed. Well, folks, it is Oscar week, and in the One Chef, One Critic kitchen today, we have a real live movie producer. Not only that, this gentleman is actually a movie producer here in St. John's. We do have our own movie producers. He may even be a movie mogul, but anyway, he's a producer for sure, and he's worked on some great projects like Rare Birds with William Hurt and Andy Jones, a lovely project called Above and Beyond about Ferry Command in Gander during the Second World War. So, here he is. It's Paul Pope of Paul Pope Productions. And Paul, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Karl.
It's great to see you. Now, we're actually going to do our own Oscar party on One Chef, One Critic tonight. And we were trying to figure out what to do. And Stephen was inspired by the Rare Birds movie to do something special. So what are you going to do?
Well, Paul, I saw the bird on the movie there, Ostis Spicerius, but I couldn't find one of them. So I went to Quiddy Vidi and I saw this great big building called Country Ribbon. So there was a multitude of birds. So what I'm going to prepare today is a beautiful chicken Cordon Bleu for you.
Really?
So,
I've never heard of that bird before.
Well, excellence through flexibility.
Yeah, excellence through
That's kind of our
flexibility.
motto, you know. It's like,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So let's get the ball rolling now.
Absolutely.
And,
So
see
what
how
we'll
you're
do
gonna
for
put
a
this
start
together.
is, I want a binding agent for the chicken, so I've got a little bit of flour into our pot there, and I'm going to get you to mix this up really well. We'll put a couple of eggs into there, and from there, a touch of mustard, and you can start mixing now,
Okay.
Paul, and excellent there, and a touch of buttermilk as well, and that will be our binding agent.
Paul, a lot of us foodies love Rare Birds, of course, because food really is kind of a character in that story. And William Hurt, if you folks haven't seen the movie, by the way, which you should, go out and rent it, it's available. William Hurt plays a restaurateur who's also a gourmet chef. You were telling us before we went on the air that you have a neat story about William Hurt and a local restaurant.
Well, Ed Rich, the writer of Rare Birds, who wrote the book and also wrote the screenplay, is an excellent chef.
Yeah.
And so it came very natural to him. And when William read the script, it was the chef thing. He was very interested in being a chef too. So about a week before we started shooting, I get this call from an actor saying, where's the rehearsal tonight? And so I'm going like, I don't know about any rehearsal, but you gotta ask. So I put him on hold and I go out to the assistant directors and say, are we running a rehearsal tonight? And everyone goes, no, there's no rehearsal being run. Because normally when you run a rehearsal, we have people around and that kind of stuff. And what it was, so I went back and I asked the actor, I said, who called you to book this rehearsal? And she said, William Hurt called me. I said, well, where's the rehearsal happening? She said, well, I think it's at the cellar. And so then we got on the phone and I found out that secretly for the whole week prior, he had been working in the kitchen as helping in the chef in the kitchen to learn the kind of nuances of when he would be on camera as the chef. And Todd Perrin, who worked at the cellar, ended up being in the movie as the other chef in the kitchen because William became dependent on him for like down to how would you hold this? How would you do that? What's the correct etiquette?
Yeah.
Like he was very concerned that it would
Intense
be
with it.
properly.
Excellent.
That it would be done
So,
properly.
As you can see, Paul, what I did, I slightly pounded this out with a mallet, and I'm wearing, of course, blue gloves, so we don't cross-contaminate.
I have clean hands. It's
There
okay.
you go.
I washed them. Well,
So all I've done is put the cheese in there and some ham, and I'm just going to lightly fold that over like so.
And that's just regular packaged ham? that you
Just
buy?
regular pepper, but I really like prosciutto or something like this, but this is a smoked Italian ham, so it's going to add some more flavour. And this is, of course, our all homemade Central Dairy Swiss cheese in there as
Great,
well. So,
okay.
so I've got two already made there. We're going to pop that there like so. So let's get cooking. Do you want to put some oil into the pan there, Paul?
okay.
You don't have to be shy with that.
Now, when you say don't be shy, like
Go ahead, go ahead. There we
going.
go. Perfect.
There
A
we
little
go.
bit more. A little bit more. A little bit more. That's good. That's
Okay.
good. So now we've got our egg wash there that you've beautifully made. We've got some breadcrumbs. And I'll get my hands messy now, so.
I guess a good point to make, Steve, as well, when you were mentioning the ham and the cheese and so forth. When you're putting together any dish, you should try for ingredients that have the most flavor.
Flavour, so it's going to
Yeah.
enhance the meat itself, so.
And you don't have to follow recipes exactly. You can kind of use them as a guide and then, pick the best ingredients that you can find. you know.
I strongly believe, and to Paul as well, cooking is an art. Use your recipes as a base, and then from there on in, whatever you've got in your cupboards, so.
well, it might be because I'm big into schedules and big into budgets and big into plans. I follow recipes very
To the T,
carefully.
yeah.
And my wife is like, when I write down her recipes, it's like a pinch of this, more of that,
that's right.
a lot of this, a little of that. But I'm kind of more by the math. And I think
Yeah.
it goes back to when I started cooking. It was actually Ed Rich that gave me my first cooking lesson. I made this Mexican meal for my parents that were coming over to visit, and I substituted so many things that it was awful.
Yeah.
There's actually a limit to how many things you can substitute.
Absolutely.
You
yeah.
can't substitute everything.
That's right. And I always tell people, it's not that difficult. You just follow the recipe, but make sure it's a good recipe.
If we can just put a little bit of butter into that pan there, you've got
Yeah.
a spatula there, and Paul will give you this spatula, and we're going to flip
Okay.
them in a couple of minutes, okay? Maybe you just put it underneath and
Just
just
to-
get the edge there,
get it.
just to prevent the sticking.
The sticking, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
perfect.
I guess this is a little bit of butter, isn't it?
Just a little bit of butter.
Yeah.
And just put the,
Okay.
as Julian, the peppers.
The butter works for the French.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
how can you go
It's an
wrong?
all natural product,
Yeah.
all butter all the time.
Okay.
Yeah,
the
there
chef
you
on
go.
there who said that once
Yeah.
before.
That's right. All butter all the time.
Right on.
Yeah. Natural ingredient. Can't beat it.
And what we're going to be doing with this afterwards, we're going to be, once the chicken is ready, we're going to put a little bit of lime juice in there to give it a little bit of citrus flavour through the actual chicken cordon bleu as
And
well.
are you at medium heat here?
It's on medium heat, that's correct, Paul.
Okay. Good.
Paul, you got a really exciting project coming up next month on television. Just tell us about it.
The project is called Divert It. It's a TV movie, and it's on the CBC Sunday evening, March the 8th. And it's the story of 9/11 in Gander, Newfoundland. And it's a beautiful story because it kind of deals with the the human nature of how we deal with the crisis. It's not really about terrorism, but it's about it's about a community coming together, and it has a really nice cast.
Yeah.
Of actors as Joanne Whalley, and Dave Suchet, and some other people that you'll recognize.
Yeah.
So it's a lovely little movie.
I'll just flip this one over as well again.
And
Beautiful golden brown
it's a story that kind of will resonate around the world, because that story of what happened in Gander really did get international play, didn't it? I mean, everybody heard about it.
It was the worst of times and the best of people.
Yeah.
Like you want me to flip that one?
You can go right ahead.
Okay, it's like I do more of a roll than a flip. The story of Gander is so inspiring, 9/11, because everyone just came together and did what was required, and the stories are just absolutely incredible of what people did, and we followed one fictitious aircraft and a sort of a group of people, but it changed a lot of people's lives, because it was the very best of humanity, and the stories were just endless, like 6,000 people to service 6,000 people, almost one-on-one. There's actually 9,000 people in Gander, and bedding and clothes and everything.
I can just see that. I guess the whole community got involved.
The whole community, bedding and clothes came, and the people would say, how are you going to sort all this stuff when it's over? And they
everybody was very hungry.
We don't care. We don't care who's going to get it, and they fed it all.
I'll get to season, Karl, okay?
And then there's there's this great story. I mean, Byron's downtown. Hugo Boss was stuck in Gander. And his assistant, called from Europe, really concerned about Hugo, and called Byron and said, bring out this kind of wine, bring out this kind of food. Here's the sizes of clothes, bring out some clothes for him and stuff. And so he does it, drives out to Gander, and he finds Hugo Boss staying in the parish hall in Botwood or in some church basement, sleeping on a cot on the floor with 200 other people.
Wow.
And he declines the trip into a nice hotel. He declines all of the food. He says he wants to stay with his group. He doesn't want to offend the women that are serving him. And he's like madly in love with the
people
Sienna
and
Bride care, and and it has to do with us, as Newfoundlanders. We are the biggest aircraft carrier in the Atlantic.
Yeah.
We're on the edge, and people in distress, whether by sea or by air, we're going to take care of them. And
super story.
it's no different than the lighthouses.
Paul, we have to select a beautiful wine to go with this, and I'm going to head down to the wine cellar and get some wine. I'll be right back. And in the meantime, you and Steve can get that together. I'd like to thank the members of the Academy. I cannot tell you how much this award means to me. Having started out in this business when I was just a kid, I never dreamt that I would reach the...
What are you doing?
Well, it's Oscar week, and I was just kind of getting carried away.
Usually when the music's playing, that's when they escort you off stage.
Right. Yeah. I don't know what... I think Andrew left that in here. It's good acoustics in here.
Certainly wasn't me.
Anyway, it's Oscar week. We have
Excellent.
Paul Pope, a real live movie producer upstairs, and we've got chicken Cordon Bleu for him.
Nice.
So we need a nice wine to go with this, a kind of a celebration wine, I suppose. But anyway, it's certainly a wonderful dish for an Oscar party.
Okay.
So what can you recommend?
Well,
Jerry?
I know Paul, and I know he's a huge fan of red, so maybe a lighter red with Cordon Bleu. We'll do something like Pinot Noir. And actually, I got a few different ones.
Pinot Noir.
Yeah.
The great Californian
Well,
wine.
it's all over the place. You got
Well,
Pinot
that's
Noir
true,
in
yeah.
a ton of different countries, and actually, you got a few different examples. I mean, just roughly, you have California, France, we have Oregon, and there's also Tasmania in southern Australia, island just off the coast of Australia. I mean, there's so many countries doing Pinot Noir now. The problem is that it's hard to know where to go for it. General rules, though, for Pinot Noir, it's an expensive grape to make. It's a very tough, very difficult grape to make. It doesn't ripen well. It's a very difficult process, so it usually costs a little bit more to get good Pinot Noir. I mean, the prices, you can find Pinot Noir probably for $20 or less, but generally the quality isn't really there. It's usually bulk consumption or bulk produced stuff. But, most of these things, most of these wines There's different styles as well. California, Oregon, they tend to be a little bit more fruit forward, especially California. It's a hotter climate. So the
What
wine.
does fruit forward mean?
Well, I mean, just when you first smell the wine or when you first take a sip, it's fruit is the first thing you sort of get. And it's a little bit of candied fruit to it as well. It's a little sweeter tasting sometimes. And that can also be a result of higher alcohol because where it is a warmer climate, usually the grapes are ripe and a little bit more alcohol is produced. The French, and actually sometimes Oregon can be a little bit more subdued as well, but French especially tends to have a little bit more of the, what the French call it, the terroir, the soil aspect. There's a little bit more minerality to it. There is still nice fruit, but there's a little bit more complexity sometimes.
So that's the Burgundy grape,
The
right?
Burgundy, that's Pinot Noir and Burgundy. That would be the red Burgundy grape. And then Tasmania is a little different altogether because everybody thinks Australia is super warm, but Tasmania being so far south, almost near the south, well, the Antarctic.
Right.
You can almost get there, that climate. It's a maritime climate, similar to here almost. It can be wet, just as wet as Newfoundland. But cool climate, it lends itself to a bit of both. You get a bit of California and you get a bit of Burgundy in these wines. So, I mean, they're all great.
I'm going to go with the Californian because it's Oscar week.
Well, that's a good
and
call.
California, Hollywood, here I come. Thanks.
Oh, you forgot your Oscar.
Well, Paul, as you can see, nicely cooked the chicken. We've cut it on the bias, and look at all that cheese nicely oozing out of there. That nice Swiss cheese.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Oh, Steve, this
Paul.
looks absolutely delicious.
Yep.
My God, look at that cheese. Oh, God, I can't wait to taste this. It's gorgeous. Anyway, Paul, I knew you liked red wine, so we selected a very pleasant red wine to go with this beautiful chicken Cordon Bleu.
Wonderful.
And
wonderful.
there you go.
Thank you. I'll pass it to you.
We'll pass, yeah,
Share the
do
ball
our
around.
little switcheroo here.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So just to remind me, Paul, once again, the special on Gander 9/11, when's that airing?
Sunday evening, March the 8th.
Perfect.
And it's a dramatic movie recreating some of the events around September 11th in Gander. And it's called Diverted.
Perfect. Now, I'm going to ask you to taste first, and you give us your opinion on this
Okay.
special dish that Steve has prepared for us.
Well, actually, he was doing some of the cooking there, so let's
that's
dig in
true,
there.
yeah.
Yes.
He's one of the authors.
Yep.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yep.
Great.
Nice and tender.
I'm going to have a taste here as well. I love things that are breaded, you know. It's got,
Excellent.
that's beautiful.
Yep. What about a recipe? Did you have a recipe at all there, Paul?
I have a painfully simple shrimp recipe that wins all the time. And it's just lightly fry some garlic, olive oil, just very slow, and then put in some Dijon mustard, white wine, and 4 cloves.
Fantastic.
Believe it or not. And then make pasta or rice, your choice.
And away we go.
Sometimes a broccoli on the side if you want another vegetable. And then let the liquid reduce. And then just quickly cook the shrimp in it.
perfect.
serve it over,
Okay,
and
well,
it's
folks,
perfect.
we're going to put Paul's recipe for that shrimp dish on the website along with Steve's recipe at centraldairies.com. Go to the One Chef One Critic page. Paul Pope Productions, thank you very much for
Cheers.
being with us today.
Thank you very much.
Excellent.
For more of Chef Steve Watson's recipes, our recommended wine lists, and guest recipes, log on to centraldairies.com. Have a recipe that you want to share with us? Send it along to onechef.onecritic@rci.rogers.com. Be sure to attach your name, address, and contact number, and you and a guest could be eligible to win a dinner for 2 at one of our city's finest restaurants. Let us know what you think of the show at 757-9600.
When using a knife, always make sure it's sharp, but never put it in the dishwasher because the heat will take the temper out of the blade and dull the knife.
First time I've heard that. That's a very good tip. I'll tell you, Steve, they're not eating any better at the Hollywood parties tonight than this. Look what we've got here. We've got a triple decker of chocolate. White chocolate mousse on the top, milk chocolate in the middle, and dark chocolate on the bottom, and a chocolate tuile.
And I have a beautiful signature rum cake here with a passion fruit and a strawberry coulis.
Angie Ryan, who handles pastries here at the Bona Vista,
A wonderful
has
job.
outdone
Amazing.
herself
Absolutely.
again. Oscar-winning food here today, folks. And now we're going to talk about more movie food. Craft Services prepare food for the folks who work on movie sets,
food.
and they eat well too. Let's see. Well, we're here in Flat Rock where Pulpo Productions are filming Grown Up Movie Star. And this is a movie which stars Sean Doyle, directed by Adriana Maggs. We're in the craft services trailer, and this is where they actually prepare all of the food that they feed the actors and the crew on the movie set. And with me is Jenny Rockett, who is doing craft services for this movie. And Jenny, tell me, you're a baker in real life.
I am, yes.
And you provide desserts and muffins and oatcakes and all that sort of thing for various coffee shops around town. What's the difference between doing this kind of job, providing food with craft services, and your regular job?
Well, my regular job, I get up, it's probably like the same hours in the morning. I get up around 5:30 every morning and start baking. But here I have to be on set, and I basically work at least 13 or 14 hours a day. And when I'm in my real life, I only work maybe 7 or 8. And I'm baking sort of, I'm baking like a lot of muffins and cookies and squares, and here I'm actually cooking. So there is a bit of a difference.
Now, is it true that basically on a movie set there's food laid out all the time, all day?
There is. From when I get here in the morning, I have coffee on, and we go through probably, I'd say like 50 liters of coffee a day, maybe a little bit more. So I start that, and there's always coffee, there's always tea, there's always cold drinks. I do a little bit of baking, and I also just provide snacks and fruit and vegetables and things like that for the table. And then 3 hours after there's a crew call in the morning, I have to bring out what's called a hot substantial, which is like maybe a hot breakfast sandwich or something like that. And then there's a catered lunch 3 hours after that. And then after that, there's another substantial, which is like a hot sandwich or a wrap or something.
Wow, do people actually need to eat that much during a day of filming?
You'd be surprised. You know what? The craft table, I have to restock it fairly often, and pretty much everybody eats their substantial and their lunch. So I think it's the long hours, and people just really don't stop. It's really long days.
Now, one issue I think which you probably have run into is a lot of people have food allergies. They have dietary restrictions. Some people are vegan, vegetarian. What's that been like for you?
It means that you just spend a little bit more time preparing the substantials. On this particular shoot, there's 4 vegetarians, 2 vegans, and one of those vegans also doesn't eat sugar and is allergic to gluten. And there's also a crew member with a gluten allergy. So I have to really plan ahead and be prepared for those, and especially with the gluten allergy, because there just can't be any cross-contamination, so you just have to be really careful.
So do the producers give you a budget and say, this is the amount of money we have to spend on this movie, and you have to work within that budget?
They do, yes. So sometimes it's really good. I did work on a commercial recently where there wasn't really a budget, but I also didn't have to cook hot substantials. So, but on some of the lower budget ones, it's been pretty tight.
What's the most popular dish you've ever cooked for a movie crew? I bet they love your muffins.
They do like the muffins, I think, yeah. Yeah.
I've heard about your muffins.
Partridge berry, almond, and apple. I think, yeah, I'm really happy that they've become such a, I don't know, they're kind of a hit. Everybody seems to like them, so I'm delighted about that.
I'm sure you deserve all the accolades you're getting, and good luck with the rest of this shoot on Grown Up Movie Star.
Thank you very much.
So, Steve, now we know what craft services is all about. This has been a great show. Fingers crossed for Kate Winslet and
Absolutely,
Mickey Moore.
yes.
Hope they win. Anyway, we want to thank everybody here at the Bona Vista, Chef Rory McPherson especially, for helping us out today. It's been great.
Fantastic food,
we want to thank Coleman's for helping us out with food for our cooking segment. So, hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks for watching this edition of
One Chef,
One Critic.
Okay. The favorite part they like in television land is the sticks. Can we do a fake startup for this rehearsal? Sure. Okay, here we go. Are you rolling? I'm rolling. We're not really shooting with 2 full sticks?
Yeah.
Okay, quiet. And roll sound, please. Speed. 62, take 1. Marker. Frame, call it frame.
Listen to this.